Hey guys, this is DBJ, and I wanted to throw in my 2 cents on the subject of the dark side of the hobby. This started off with sameoldji, uh, samwise has a video response, um, Jeffery, mcarthur, runeslinger, and so I want to throw my hat into it, and um, not to veer off of the subject of it, which part of it was those of us that um, purchase and collect and buy RPGs without the intention of engaging in the social aspect of it. But I'm going to go in a slightly different direction um, because I'm far more zen. I like to err on the positive side. I have another video. I'll edit it and release it about the 8 types of fun. It's just a method of how to describe the things in RPGs that we love. But my personal dark side has actually nothing much to do with the games themselves. It is my definition of the ultimate darkness in our RPG hobby is the attention to the hobby in any of its forms to the exclusion of the human beings involved in the hobby itself. And this goes from the creation of RPGs to buying RPGs, social media, playing the games, character creation, using miniatures or anything. And in each of those steps, from a person by themselves coming up with using their imagination to come up with a story, all the way to producing an RPG, getting it published, getting it distributed, finding fans, having those fans get together after buying this particular product, playing that game, gathering with their friends, getting in on social media to find other players, whether they play online or finding their own friends at their friendly local gaming store, or lifelong friends that have always played the same game or different games or whatever. In each of those, I've seen at each portion of that process that there comes a time where someone makes a decision, knowingly or unknowingly, whether their emotions take hold or what have you, where they ignore the human beings involved in that process to the detriment of that human being. And either that person is trying to be a bully, maybe they're trying to be disrespectful, maybe they're ignorant of their own actions, or they are just a person who lacks basic social skills and is proud to have that lack of social skill, holding it up like a trophy. And what do I mean by this disrespect or being a bully or something? Before someone starts to label me, because someone's going to label me as a social justice warrior, I'm not talking about any particular group. I'm talking about a player at a table that wants to hog the spotlight and uses the game rules to excuse their behavior to prevent other people from participating in a game. I'm talking about the game master who lords his might over the players, taking away their ability to, railroading them to death and taking away their ability to enjoy the game, and using the game mechanics as a shield for their own personal inadequacies or something. I'm talking about the creator who creates a game, and instead of letting the market decide whether a game is good or not, people actively try to suppress someone else's ability to create something that someone else out there may like. You may not like it, but someone out there may be a fan of this product or this individual, and other people are trying to actively beat down socially and financially and economically, even you could say politically, these other individuals trying to do their own thing with their own time, with other individuals doing their own thing. On the one thing I try to stay far away from in social media is the classic edition wars, where 4th edition sucks, 5th edition is better. One doesn't preclude the other, right? It's not like they stopped making your favorite car and then they put it out of production and there's another car. You can still get the old thing. These are books. There's a store here called Half Price Bookstore, and one thing that someone mentioned was like, it doesn't matter that the price is half, the quality is still the same, right? So if you are a fan of a particular edition of a game, or a particular writer, or a particular creator, more likely than not, you can find that and enjoy it. And there is 2nd edition or advanced Dungeons and Dragons out there. You can get all the information that was ever produced for that game today. There is nothing stopping you from playing that edition of the game, nor should you stop, nor should anybody else berate you for doing so. Now, sure, you have ratios, right? So maybe there's a higher ratio of people playing 5th edition than another edition, and it may be difficult for you to find other players. But my feeling is not to berate those individuals who enjoy the game that they purchased. They invested money into a certain edition of Call of Cthulhu, and they want to play that one. They purchased the original ElfQuest, and I forget what edition of Chaosium that was, and they're like, hey, I've had this game on my shelf for 13 years, and I want to go back to playing it, and they should be able to do that without being chastised for it. And our hobby only exists through the support and attention of its producers and collaborators and consumers. Dungeons and Dragons has no external support, right? Yes, it's financially in a way being supported by a card game and a toy company, right? Without us, Hasbro would shut the doors and throw it away. So, and unfortunately, Dungeons and Dragons, it seems to be the only gateway into our hobby. We need games like Numenera. We need games like Dread and Fate and Fantasy Flight games. We need those games because the wider spread those games are, the greater chance that there's a gateway for others to enter into the game. As many people that harp on 4th edition as not being Dungeons and Dragons, there were plenty of people that joined in the hobby because of that game, because it reminded them of the MMOs, the video games that they played. So my version of the dark side of the hobby isn't about buying the books. And there are plenty of people, I myself included, that will financially support someone because I may feel that they're a good writer. I may feel that there is something about the mechanics of a game that I would like to involve myself with. There are dreams that I always hold, and it's like taking a dream vacation. Sometimes you just want to have that book just in case you have that one opportunity or multiple opportunities where life opens itself up and you go, you know what, I'm friggin' ready. I own 38, White Wolf books, World of Darkness books, and I'm ready to play the minute, time opens up. And if it's a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, so what? I am a person who doesn't have a lot of time to set aside for 2, 3, 4 hour games consistently, but I do support those in the hobby. I've purchased books, I've got Kickstarters, I've gotten free PDFs where I've gone back and then decided to throw my money to the person who created that thing because I don't want something for free. That's my own personal honor system. I feel like financially supporting the hobby, even if you are by yourself, is not a dark side. My dark side, or what I feel is a dark side of the hobby, is preventing others from having access and the ability to enjoy the game in the manner in which they wish to enjoy the game, whether it's social, whether it's financial, whether it's a political thing. They want to enjoy, other people playing that game. there have been controversies about people who say are internet content providers that do things on YouTube, and they're vloggers and they write blogs and things, and maybe they have in their own way cast negative opinions on other people in the hobby. And you're going to have personal conflicts. The higher the population grows, the more those personalities will start to rub together. Unfortunately, we're social creatures. We all can't get along. Sometimes we vie for the same space. Sometimes you have what people call cults of personality, and there's this weird thing where you have one, for some reason, there are people who find others charismatic and turn them into icons, whereas you have others who are the exact opposite of that, where for some reason they turn, the minute they see something iconic, they have to tear it down. When they see someone getting or people getting popular, they have to be the anti-popularists, those kind of things. And either side of those people, of those groups, those extremists in our gaming industry, I think are our dark side. It's the person who plays a game, and when a new person wants to join, wants to really learn about the game, they throw them 500 pages of books and splat books and say, here, learn this in a half an hour where you can't play. It's the newbie that wants to come up and play the game, and they're given such looks and treated with such disdain that they never join again. And even if that person does not enjoy your game, that individual is a person who may spend dollars and create a social network of their own to involve others into the hobby, and we need those people. There are people from around the world that we are connected into and that support the hobby in ways that maybe someone very close to you does not. I just feel that the darkest part of the hobby is when I see someone using the game as an excuse to exhibit negative, antisocial behavior of a bully, even ignoring people. When someone has questions, usually innocently, even the idea that, and this is done in all kinds of multimedia, where someone is judged because they're not quite a fan as you are. They're not quite as knowledgeable. They're a fan. They're involved in what you're doing, but they are judged based on how much access they have to it. It's the Star Wars fan that goes, well, you've seen all the movies, but you've never read all the books, so you're not really a fan. It's the comic book fan that goes, well, you may have collected all the Avengers, but you haven't collected all the side issues too. And it's like, wait, really? You're gonna are we such animals that we have to reduce ourselves down to this basic need of survival to include and exclude other groups of people? Are we that lizard brained that we can't separate ourselves from it and find someone who's only played 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons for a month and say, hey, join our group. I don't care. Join on it. Oh, you don't know about those rules? Don't worry about it. You're fine. Just let's play the game. If you have any questions, join in. If they quote unquote play wrong, they're not optimized, they don't make the correct decisions, so what? So what? It's a game. And to use the excuse of the game, of the rules, of the written word as a crutch to do harm in such a subtle way as to ignore all the way up to berating and psychologically harming other individuals by using what is essentially a glorified, war game or board game, I think is disgusting. And I feel that is the darkest part of our hobby. And I prefer to see the light. I prefer to in my small way, spread the light, to be inclusive, to talk about things openly and honestly, to not disparage other people's opinions about things, but to say, hey, you have a different opinion. Here's another way of looking at it. Let's all grow. You know, I'm never going to stop learning. I'm 46 years old and I'm still a kid. Mentally, I refuse to let my brain atrophy and just shrink down into this weird closed off concrete block of I know everything, you can't teach me. I'm always willing to learn. And I feel that that the small part, I know this whole rant, I went off on a tangent because sameoldji's video is really, he's more or less talking about the community of RPGs and those individuals sitting on the sidelines who've purchased games, talk about games, think about developing games, and they don't play, and feels like, I got the impression that what he's asking is, how are they helping to add to the community? I do feel that there are many voices out there that I want to hear. There are many people out there who have great ideas and we never get to experience them. I want to hear from those people. I want to see what they create. But those people are putting money, at a minimum, hopefully they're putting money into the system, right? Hopefully they're engaging in some social or online activity where they're expressing their opinions and supporting others, hopefully. But anyway, this is my video response. I know I kind of diverged off of what games people want to play and don't want to play and have on their shelves. I got a ton of them. I'm waiting for Dreamcatcher. I'll give you my list that's coming up. Dreamcatcher's coming up from a Kickstarter. I just received Mechas and Monsters that I haven't played. I've got a ton of White Wolf that I haven't touched in years. Eclipse Phase is one of my favorite games. I love the setting. I'm not really a fan of the rules, but the setting absolutely amazes me. I don't get a chance to play that. 5th edition, I haven't played 5th edition past 3rd or 4th level since it's come out, and I would love to be able to advance in that. What other game? There is a 5th edition book Kickstarter that I'm supporting called Salt and Wounds, about a Tarrasque is, air quotes, killed, held down by rituals and magic, and an entire society has built up around it by eating its flesh, and the blood is seeped into the ground, and it's completely this Tarrasque that keeps living and dying. And at one point in the past, the tail got loose and started wagging, and it destroyed a whole section of the city. And there are people harvesting its brain matter and bones and creating weapons out of it, and dark rituals, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's called Salt and Wounds. That's coming out for Pathfinder and 5th edition, and I can't wait to read that book. I would love to run it and play it. I don't know if I'll be able to, but towards the end of this year, I think like August, September or something, I expect to have it come out. I like to add another 3 or 4 months to Kickstarters because it's a thing, it's a work in progress. Maybe I'll get a chance to play that one. So, anyways, DBJ, as always, create light, destroy the darkness, guys. Thank you very much.